All right, welcome everyone. We're going to give it a few more minutes for everyone to jump in and join this live stream. We want to thank everyone for taking the time today for just about a few minutes just so that we can discuss new updates that are coming up. So let's give it maybe 1 or 2 minutes.
You guys can feel free to drop any questions that you have into the live chat.
Yeah.
We'll be answering live on the spot. We're excited for everyone to be joining us today here on Mocap Today, our live stream with Daniel, our host. I'm Alex here behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So looking forward to chatting with everyone. Let us know what you're using, if you're using Perception Neuron 3, if you're using Perception Neuron Studio, if you're a legacy user that's still using PN32 or PN Pro. Excited to be kind of connecting with the community and continuing to introduce new products for everyone to use. So yeah, Daniel,
All right.
any other things you'd like to say?
No, I think we're good to get going to the presentation. So let's go ahead and run through the slide.
Good to go.
All right, everyone. So thank you again for joining today's live stream. Let's get running and rolling for today's news and updates. As for today's discussions, we're going to be discussing about the September and October events that are up and coming that we have showcasing. We're going to have a lot of staff going out there, so we're going to make sure that you guys stop by and check us out. We're going to discuss about Axis Face app as well. And also going to talk about Perception Neuron Face Capturing Helmet. We talked about that on the previous video. Make sure you check out our previous video on YouTube, also a live stream, so you could get more details on that. And we're going to leave for a Q&A at the end of the video. So if you have any questions, Alex will have some questions come up at the end and bring them up so we can discuss about that. We'll leave that towards the end of the video. So for the up-and-coming events that we have IBC, which is right around the corner. This is literally next week. Our team is going flight out there. If you're in Amsterdam, make sure you stop by, say hi. We're more than happy to have you join us at the booth. Always exciting to have the customers, users come by and say hello. We also have GitTex is going to be in Dubai. So if you're in that area, make sure you come by and visit us. So for today's video, as I mentioned, we're going to talk about Axis Face iOS app. This app is readily available today for download. This is in collaboration with Zero Transform, who also helped us develop the face capturing helmet that we're going to be showcasing today. So we have this, this 2 products that are helping us do the face capturing. This product, the Face iOS app, is available at $400. This is a perpetual license. This app will allow you to capture face data for your Mocap, for your integration in your pipeline. So make sure you go and visit the link. We're going to post a link on the video after the show is done, so you can go ahead and visit that page. I'm showing a quick video for everyone to see how the app runs on your phone. It runs fairly smooth. It's really going to be, the setup is quite easy, straightforward. The idea is that you're going to be setting up the integration in the app so that it can connect to Axis Studio. There's a couple of features that we're going to discuss in a little bit, just right now. But this is a quick UI demonstration of how the app runs on iOS. So, couple of features that I want to discuss that is included with the app. We're going to provide FBX export with the animation, which is ideal for post-production. We're also going to provide WAV file for the audio so that you can sync up the audio with the face capturing data. That's perfect for cleanup and anything else you wanted to do in post. We're also going to allow you're going to be able to select different FPS at the app, so you can select 30 frames per second, 60 frames, etc. We're also going to allow you to connect to Axis Studio, which I talked about a little bit. Essentially, you're going to record in Axis Studio, and then it's going to initiate the recording in the app. So all you have to do is just one click, and then you're rolling for the whole entire take. Coming soon is going to be real-time streaming. This is going to be for streaming the face data into Unreal Engine and other third-party applications. This is coming soon, so stay tuned. This app is in continuous development, so there's a lot of new features that are coming along. And then lastly is going to be the third-party timecode export. So that timecode is going to be exported from the phone over to your third-party application, like Unreal, for example. In the following slide, I just want to show everyone the process of importing that data over to Maya. You can see that we have a mesh face that's going to be imported. This is essentially capturing the ARKit data from the iOS. We're going to import that over to Maya. And it's quite simple to retarget to your target character. Essentially, we're going to be copying the blend shapes over to your target character. You can see that our character tech person here is who is Abdiel. He's doing the process. It takes about a few minutes to do, so it doesn't take much of effort. All you're simply doing is just copying the keyframes from one blend shape of the export from the data over to your target character. So it's quite simple to do, not much of an effort, as I mentioned. So, all right, next slide here, we're going to discuss about the perception on face helmet. Why do I bring this up? We want everyone to know that we need to bundle up. This hardware is unique, perfect for any production that fits in any pipeline for your company. Basically, this works with real-time data or post-data processing. We're using the iPhone X. This works with LiveLink and also works with the Axis Face. So this fits perfectly for Perception on Studio, Perception on 3, with the whole compatibility of those both hardware. So if you're coming from anything from Perception on Studio, Perception on 3, you can use this hardware. And if you're doing post-production or real-time, this works ideal. Again, bundle up. This works for any workflow in your pipeline. All right. And then when we go take a step back with the application that I've been discussing, the Axis Face iOS app, the setup is quite easy. On the left-hand side, you see the BVH broadcasting that we have. We're simply selecting Axis Studio. We can select any skeleton that we want to. We're sending the data through UDP protocol. This allows us to have a bidirectional communication. As you can see, the local address is the computer's information, and the destination address is the iPhone's information. So we have the IP address for both hardware, essentially, one on the top, one on the bottom. And we also have a port number. Again, 7001 is for the computer, 7002 is for the phone. And then essentially all we need to do is just copy and paste that information over to the Axis Face application on the right-hand side. And essentially that's going to lock in the data for the communication, the bidirectional communication I spoke about. And this following slide is just a quick demonstration how the setup looks. You can see that the application is capturing face information. We have the avatar that's essentially just giving a generic data for the face. We have the face capturing helmet on myself. The helmet is quite ergonomic, so very comfortable. The weight is on the top of my head, is not in front like typical setups that we see out there. So you can be, essentially your performer can have this helmet all day. There's no strain on the neck, there's no strain on your forehead, nothing. It's just very comfortable to use. This helmet is actually being built at our studio, so we have our Heart and Soul helmet for everyone can experience this new setup here. So before I go into the questions, I'll go ahead and just walk you through a quick process of how it works. We don't have the iOS demonstration, but we'll just kind of give you a quick walkthrough how the setup works. So let's go ahead and make sure that we're showing my computer here so that everyone can see. So I have Axis Studio open. Essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up the iOS first to make sure that we have that ready to go before we put anything in the helmet. So in the iOS app, let me just go ahead and log in. All I need to do first is make sure that I get the IP address from the phone. I'm going to go to the Wi-Fi settings, copy and paste not copy and paste, but capture the IP address. We're going to go into Axis Studio here, go to settings. We're going to go into UDP and we're going to put the iOS, my phone's IP address into this dialog here. We're going to put 7002, hit OK. We're going to run the application here, the Axis Face. To the bottom of the application, we're going to have a little menu option. We're going to have the UI fall down, and we're going to have the information for inputting the data. So again, we're going to put the computer's IP address here on the first line, and then we're going to put at the bottom to connect for the bidirectional, we're going to put 7002 so that this phone can communicate to Access Studio. So I already have this set up. We'll have a few more videos so everyone can see that firsthand and another time. So my phone is ready to go. It's already communicating with Access Studio here. Of course, make sure that both devices are in the same network. Just in case, if anyone forgets, they have to be in the same network. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'll grab my gloves here. Let's go ahead and put the gloves and just try to do this as quickly as possible. All right, and Alex, how's it looking there with the questions just while I set this up?
Yeah, so we have a couple of questions, that we're kind of taking care in the chat. So some people want to know if it supports multi-users, multiple accounts. So for right now, the app works for a single user within Access Studio, but we are working on adding more user support, especially because we are able to work with multiple avatars at the same time. Again, Perception Neuron Studio supports 5 avatars, 5 users simultaneously, and Perception Neuron 3 supports 3. So of course, as part of that full performance capture suite, we want to be able to maximize that. But again, as we're running through everything today, we are extremely excited to kind of continue to showcase this and kind of talk about the future developments that we have. But having a app that works flawlessly and seamlessly with Perception Neuron Studio is something that I think has been discussed for a long time with a lot of our users, but is extremely beneficial because we know that syncing up that face data and body data is extremely important. And so as we continue to demonstrate, and Daniel's going to be going through the live session, we'll continue to answer your questions and give them to us, because also your feedback is extremely important. That's what's going to help us continue to grow the app. That's what's going to continue to build this foundation for all of you guys. So keep dropping those questions in the chat. We'll be answering them, and I'll let Daniel kind of continue to demonstrate what he's doing live now.
All right, so all I'm doing right now, I just finished doing a calibration, and I'm sliding in the phone into the helmet. So it goes in as such, as you can see here. All I'm going to do is just lock this in place so it doesn't move. Push this in. And what I'll do is essentially there's a little dowel here at the back. I'll make sure it's wide open so that I can put this nice and snug. You can see that I currently have the head sensor on back of my head. You can typically put this in the front, but for this application, I'm putting it in the front. in the back. And then I'll make sure that you guys can see this. I'll place the helmet on top of my head here, and then tighten the dial. And then you can see that I still have my peripheral clear. I can still see you. I have the mirror in front of me. It's essentially capturing my face, and also the application is capturing my face as well. So you can see that it's working hand in hand. As I mentioned, we had a video earlier demonstrating that, so you can see how the face is still being captured on the top of the head. So let me make sure I step back here so you guys can see me well. So again, like I mentioned, this is the ideal setup here. I have the full body here being captured. This is real time. This is not any playback data. I can walk around, I can move around, and I still have peripheral, and I'm capturing face. Now let's say I'm ready to go. I can go into Access Studio here, and let's call this live, let's call this Access Face Demo. So the idea is, if you're gonna be working solo, always make sure that you have, let's go ahead and add a couple of seconds here so I can record. So I'm gonna give myself a 3-second countdown. As soon as I hit record, what's happening behind the scene is that Access Studio is going to record, and also the application. I don't have to hit any record button on the phone. It's already simultaneous recording. I can just walk around, scroll like this, just anything anything fun. I'm sorry, I'm not athletic here, but you get the idea. Go ahead into Access Studio, hit the stop button, and just like that, we have the recording in Access Studio, and we have the recording inside of the iPhone as well for us, which is going to provide the FBX file. All right.
Where do those files go, Daniel? Do they get saved onto the phone itself? And then how do you bring that into a 3D software?
So they get saved into the phone itself, and then once you export it, you can copy that over to your computer when you attach the phone on the computer, as of right now.
Perfect. I'm reiterating what Daniel is showcasing. Again, this is a full performance capture suite, right? So we have our full body motion capture system with Perception Neuron Studio that Daniel is wearing. Again, this can also work with Perception Neuron 3, but also like if you are a legacy user, right, and you are using Perception Neuron 32 or you are using Perception Neuron Pro, all of this will work right together. You know, you can use the face capture helmet, and you can use the app. The only difference if you are a legacy user is that you're not going to be able to use this with Access Studio, right? So Access Studio is native to Perception Neuron Studio and Perception Neuron 3. So you can still record, you can still stream, you can still use the stuff, but you are not going to be able to launch the simultaneous recording unless you are using Perception Neuron Studio or Perception Neuron 3. So it's just part of the development that came into play with this. This is sort of, you know, the future proofing of everything and unifying everything into one software. But again, part of that complete package that we want to kind of steer people towards, because pretty soon we are going to have live streaming for Unreal, for Unity, for Maya, Blender. And if you are a VTuber, a streamer, someone who loves to do real-time capture for pre-visualization, you are going to be able to do all of this within our app. And again, it is that one-time cost of $400, a perpetual license, but you are going to get support, you're going to get feedback, and we want to get your feedback as well as how you'd like to see improvements on the app. You know, again, really excited to kind of continue to be showcasing it here today. I don't know, Daniel, if there's anything else that you kind of want to show workflow-wise now that you've captured, you've recorded, any next steps that take place from this moment.
Yeah, after this would be, you know, you want to reach out to your animation director or anybody. You can export, go ahead and send over the data to the person. What you're going to get is essentially going to be FBX files with the correct naming. The naming is going to be in sync. The timing is going to be in sync. You're going to give them a animation file that contains the mocap data for the body, mocap data for the face capture on another file. You're going to get a WAV file. And all that's going to be synced up so that when you drop it into Maya or Motion Builder, you're going to have everything from beginning to end ready to go. So it's pretty much simple. There's not much to it, but it is quite simple.
Yeah, you just mentioned, because we just had Jose kind of asking if the audio is recorded as well, yeah. And if that's directly on the iPhone. And you just mentioned that you do get a WAV file with the system, you know, as part of the app, right? So it gets saved. Yeah. So you get your facial animation and you get the audio file as well.
Yeah, everything is synchronized, so you get all three files there.
I think one of the most unique features in the app, and it's something that we have not seen in any other facial capture app, is the ability to select your FPS. And Daniel kind of touched upon it during sort of the bullet points. But right now you can select 24 frames per second, 30 frames per second, or 60 frames per second. And it's not something that you see very common or at all in any of the other apps. And can you talk about the importance of that, Daniel, especially when syncing up with the body capture?
Yeah, so we support different frame rates so that you can essentially select the frame rate from Access Studio and then select the frame rate inside of your application. That way, again, everything's synchronized when you have the post-processing of the data. So that's going to give you one less step to worry about. Trying to, you know, basically trying to interpolate that data over to another frame rate is essentially going to be ready to go to be synchronized with your mocap data. All right, so this is super exciting for everyone. We're going to be accepting, you know, a lot of emails. You know, just feel free to ask questions. If you have any more questions about your process, about your workflow, we're more than happy to discuss with anyone. So any other questions, Alex? Just making sure that we cover everyone out there.
Yeah. So Sound Coaster kind of asking, and this is a great question and something that I think we can prepare. People want to know about possibly getting a trial period on the app. So it's something that we're going to relay. Stand by, because we'll be able to probably give feedback pretty shortly after the stream on getting everyone at least a trial, because we do want you to all see the kind of like the power and benefits of using the app. So stand by. We will answer on socials about that. So again, stand by.
Right. That's going to be super exciting to see for so you can test it out for your workflow. So that's good to hear.
Yeah. Another question, and this is more, I guess, longevity. This is more of a common question with Perception Neuron Studio and Perception Neuron 3, which is, if you don't use the system for a long time, can it get ruined? And I think we can probably agree that that's a no, but you do need to charge your sensors if you're not going to be using them for a long time. Yeah,
so the new generation of Perception Neuron family is, they have inertial sensors are up to date. The hardware is quite new. The sensors do not get damaged. If you put them on TVs, if you run through them through an elevator, we have tools inside of Access Studio that can correct any error that they can accumulate. But as far as maintenance on the system, as every typical device, for example, an iWatch or anything, phones and stuff like that, you want to make sure things are charged, every so often, so that the batteries don't eventually die off, because the cells, there's a lot of science into it, but you want to make sure that the sensors are maintained by charging them every so often. You don't want them to be left forgotten, and make sure that you just maintain them. That's all. But the sensors themselves, they don't go bad.
Perfect. Good. Thank you for bringing that up. I think the recommended time period and we had sent an email out to our users for this, is doing a full charge at least once every 3 months.
Correct. Don't forget that once every 3 months.
Another question, and this is, I think, more of a curiosity, because I would like to see this, but we don't know. Which is if we will ever see Access face, like the facial expressions, live in Access Studio. I think that's sort of like a wish list. We'll kind of see. We'll keep an eye on.
As more users start using the application, which we definitely want everyone to jump in. Feel free to bring in suggestions. We have developers that are constantly making new updates, and then as we see more suggestions come in, that is something that we can obviously take in consideration, because we definitely want to make sure that we're up to date with production. That is a key thing that we want everyone to know. That is ultimately important. You guys dictate how the hardware operates correctly and how it works great with your production.
Absolutely. I think one of the cool things, there's all these like little things that were put into the app, which kind of really kind of unify within the Perception Neuron family. So if you look at the app and you look at the avatar that's there, you'll notice that avatar has sort of like a blue face around it. And if you notice the Axis robot that Daniel has, right, also has this sort of like red, that blue border around the face, right? So we sort of made your face within the Access Studio robot face. So there's like all these little fun things that we've added and are going to continue to add, again, and just sort of unify everything within the Perception Neuron Studio and Perception Neuron just family in general.
Cool. So let's go ahead and jump back into, we're covering questions here. This is a great time to bring up the following topic, where essentially, if you have more questions, you want a one-on-one, interaction with us, email us. Go to our website. You can go ahead and book a demo, and we can personalize the demo for you, and we can discuss about your production, anything that goes, any doubts, questions. Just feel free to visit our website and book a demo. Don't forget that.
Yes. So yeah, Daniel just mentioned we have the live demo. So if you are interested in seeing Perceptron Studio, Perceptron 3, if you're interested in a close-up look at the face helmet, or even just the app, or even interested in our virtual production suite, go ahead, book a demo with us, send us an email to contact@neuronmocap.com. Daniel is obviously our head of support. We also have Rachel, who does a great job at talking to our users. She's usually the one that's doing the live presentations, but you'll usually get a face-to-face. So Daniel, who's here, is usually answering emails as well. We're all sort of really ingrained with the community, and we love connecting with all of you, which is why, as Daniel mentioned at the beginning of the stream, if you are going to be in Amsterdam for IBC, please send us an email. We'd love to meet and connect with you. If you're going to be in Dubai for GTEx, go ahead and send us an email. Let's connect. Let's show you what is possible. Let's talk about your projects. We want to make sure that everyone is comfortable with any hardware that they're going to be choosing and that it fits the application and need that they have. So that's a great point on there, Daniel, for booking a demo.
So, perfect. So before I bring in the last slide, any other questions from the audience out there?
Yeah, so a couple of quick questions, which is, do I need to update Access Studio for the app to work?
No, you do not. This works with any Access Studio, but you definitely want to make sure you're up to date with Access Studio. Our team has been updating it quite frequently, so I think we did 5-6 updates for this year. So make sure you're using the latest version of Access Studio. We've improved a lot of the UI, the engine, so you want to make sure you're up to date on that.
Perfect. So,
All right.
And just to make sure, for the app to work, you do need to be on version 2.11 and up will work. So Access Studio 2.11 and up will work. But that's the only thing that you need to do. So just make sure you're on 2.11.
Okay, perfect. So that's what, keep that in mind. Any other questions out there?
Yeah, so I've been dropping links into the chat, but is the app available right now? Is it available today?
Yeah, it is available. Go to the App Store. We'll provide a link on the video after this show, so you can go ahead and visit that web link, and you can install it on your phone. Again, it is available now for purchase, $400 perpetual license, and ready to use.
Yeah, and is the facial capture helmet also available?
Yep, it is available. So go to our website, neuronmocap.com. We have it ready to ship. We do ship worldwide. So if you need that for production, go ahead and visit our website and buy the helmet.
Yeah. So as Daniel mentioned, Face app available right now, facial capture helmet available today. So we do ship out daily from our offices here in Miami, Florida. So if you need something, let us know. We usually ship on the same day, so long as it gets in before 4 p.m. We can get it out to you. Anything that is domestic within the U.S. usually arrives between 2 to 4 days. And if you're talking about an international shipment, that's usually going to take 4 to 6 business days.
All right. Thank you. All right. So just following back into the audience, anything other than closing out?
No, just some really positive feedback. People are really excited about kind of seeing what's there. Question, which is if there's an Android version coming, and I don't.
I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but unfortunately, this is using Apple ARKit. Therefore, you need to have an iOS device.
Yeah.
iPhone X, of course.
Correct.
Right.
It's something to keep in mind. I don't think that we purposely try to exclude Android, but because we are leveraging the iPhone sort of ARKit, it's sort of what we're stuck to right now.
Yeah, it's mostly the depth camera and the that's being featured in iOS. That's kind of like what the power horse is on that app on the phone.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that doesn't mean that we're not going to be exploring or looking at other options as we always do. So that sort of feedback is really important. And we're always trying to find the right solution and the right pipeline for our users. So let us know what you're interested in and what you're trying to do. And we'll try to figure that out with you. Let's see, some other questions.
Keep them rolling.
So this is more just in general, again, more for Perceptron Studio and Perceptron 3, which is the best way to get accurate finger capture. Any recommendations, tips, tricks to make sure that finger movement is captured accurately.
So the finger movement, we've included a lot of the posture calibration techniques that we want everyone to keep in mind. I did it earlier in this video, which essentially you want to make sure that you keep your palms together during that B pose, and you lift your palms up during that countdown finishes, and then you do the P pose. When you do the P pose, essentially you just want to make sure that the tip of the fingers, the thumb and the index are touching together. When it comes to the glove information here, you want to make sure that the sensors are on the second knuckle. Now this becomes challenging if you have a small glove. That's something that you can essentially just put tie a rubber band around the sensor, or somewhat like a tape on it, so that you can put the sensor down on the second knuckle. Again, if you're closing and opening your palm and you feel that your fingers, if you feel the sensors are moving too much, then you might have to tie the sensor down to the bone so that it doesn't move during the calibration. Those are quick tips that I can give for that question.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Let me see if there's any other questions that we have throughout the chat.
Okay.
And again, we talked about, because I'm kind of coming up to the next question, which
Sure.
is we talked about currently that the app supports FBX export, and you'd be able to use that with a multitude of different 3D softwares that support FBX import, right, for the facial animation. So that would include iClone, but also does that relate to Unreal Engine? Does it relate to Unreal Engine MetaHuman? What does that workflow look like? Does it change at all? Is it the same?
So there is a workflow for importing that over into Unreal Engine. Again, that's going to simply be using the Apple AR Kit information. So there is a workflow for that. We can provide a video on that after the stream here today, but there is a workflow for that process.
Perfect. Yeah, stand by, because there's a couple things that obviously really excited to announce it today. There's things that we have, which is going to be documentation on how to use the app, how to connect, a lot of the processes that Daniel talked about today, and what the workflow will look like. We'll talk about workflows for bringing into Unity, into Unreal, into Blender, into iClone. And so we'll have all these sort of write-ups and short videos on how to integrate and use it. But again, it's all pretty streamlined, and we tried to make this as user-friendly as possible. So from the connecting of the app to Access Studio, to a synchronized sort of stream, so you get all that data, to if you are just using the app on its own and you just need to record some data and then export that for your 3D software. Again, just trying to make those pipelines as seamless and easy as possible.
Right. Yeah, that's good. All right. So any other questions before we close out?
Let's see. A couple more questions. We'll be on standby. Maybe Daniel, if you'd like to kind of go back to Access Studio, kind of move around your avatar so people can see that we are doing everything live here on the show, right? So during our stream, we are doing live. Daniel's wearing Perception on Studio. He's doing his reset posture here, so we can kind of see that. And I'll swap over to the camera display, or his Access Studio stream, in just a second. Yeah. All
right, so we're back live here.
So again, live, right? So anything that you need, let us know. As Daniel's moving around, I just kind of want to iterate a couple things, which is if you are looking for mocap data, there's a couple of resources that we have. Number one, we have mocap.market, which is our free motion capture library with close to 1,000 moves available, and the largest library that contains both sign language for American Sign Language and Mexican Sign Language. One of the cool things is that you can take those files, which are in FBX format and MBX if you are using Access Studio, and combine it with the data from your Access Face app, right? So you can record a fight sequence, you can have an avatar that's moving around, maybe you want to have a big action move, and then you just use the app, record it, sync those two things up together, and bring it into your final project. So even if you don't have a perception neuron system, you can work with our free library. This is completely free, available to download, which is a great resource. In addition to that, we have 2 locations where you can work with us if you are doing motion capture work and maybe you don't have a studio, you don't have a suit of your own. And so we have 2 locations. We have a location in Los Angeles, which is our Neuron LA studio. Our LA studio is a fantastic location where they do stunt work, they've shot commercial work for music videos, AAA titles, and they support multiple avatars as well. So if you're doing a character sequence where you need 5 people, you can do it over there in our LA studio. So feel free to reach out to us if you are in LA and you want to do a shoot, or if you just want to get hands-on with the hardware, if you want to see it in person. We do host demos, we host seminars, we host classes. We have a couple things coming up in the next few weeks, which are some exciting announcements of what you're going to be able to kind of prepare yourself for if you're interested in. And we also have our location here in Miami. Obviously, Daniel is in our location here, and I'm going to kind of do a wide camera angle of just the studio space so you guys can get a quick look at what's available. In the back, we have our green screen as well. So if you are in Miami, or if you're in the Northeast or Southeast and you want to come by and visit us, please do so, right? We're always happy to host. We're always happy to demonstrate. We've hosted everything from Notch seminars, so if you're in the live entertainment space, we've held classes here, and come September 22nd, is it? I forget. Hold on. Let me look this up for everyone. 22nd. It is September 22nd. We are hosting an animation meetup here in our studio. So if you are on the East Coast, if you're in South Florida, please come by. We'll be sharing more details about it, but we are hosting an animation meetup here in our studio where people can kind of see Perception Neuron, again, get hands-on with it, network with other creators, animators around. So it's a fun space, and don't be afraid to reach out with any questions. Again, we're always here to assist. Let's see. I have like a question, and which is, got some OG PN32 users, right?
Awesome.
And from the Kickstarter backer days as well. So I just wanted to say thank you, Tyler, for your continued support, because thanks to you guys, we are here today. And so what is the intention for support on PN32? I'll let you answer that first, and if there's anything that I feel is missed, I will interject.
All right, cool. So Perception Neuron 32 is end of life. We do still offer support as far as email support. When it comes to hardware support, there is no hardware support at the moment as far as like replacements or sales due to it being at end of life. However, we do encourage users to upgrade to our latest hardware. We've improved a lot of the first generation technology that we had back then now to use with the latest production. So we do encourage everyone to upgrade to the latest one. I'll leave that for Alex to discuss. But as of right now, it is end of life. We only offer email support with production with pipeline and stuff like that at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as Daniel mentioned, right? Part of the life cycle, and we have, like Tyler, you are a user who's probably been around since 2014 when we launched it and had your hands on very early on, right? We're approaching 10 years with Perception Neuron 32. And so hardware-wise, it is end of life. We do support it in terms of software updates for third-party support, right? So we move along, and if we're using Unreal Engine, if we're using Unity, Maya, all these things are going to work with your Perception Neuron 32, but you're not necessarily going to get an update on the Axis Neuron software, right? Like Daniel said, we do encourage those that are our legacy users to move forward and continue to grow with us. So if you are interested in the PN32 or PN Studio, Tyler, please send us an email. We can work on something with you. Again, we want to encourage all our legacy users to kind of continue to transition and grow, especially as we come out with new releases and new hardware and new software because as you noticed, right, we talked about Access Studio being this unified platform. So it does support PN3, PN Studio, and that's where we're going to be continuing to make our software updates and improvements along the way. And all these things that we're going to continue to release are all part of the enhanced experience, especially when it comes to performance capture. Again, if there's anyone that's also part of the Unreal Fellowship program, we know that that's kind of going on right now, past, present, or future. Don't be afraid to reach out to us because we also have things to help facilitate your growth as part of that program as well. So again, we are here to make basically what you guys do as easy as possible. You're the ones that get to use the suit. You make amazing content, amazing projects, which we always love to look at, promote, and showcase to the rest of the community so we can kind of see, so the world can see how amazing the Perceptron community is in total, so as a whole. So yeah, reach out to us if you want to kind of upgrade what would be kind of like my next best thing to say.
Would be just reaches out, contact at Neuron Mocap if anything comes up with questions. That's all. All right, I think that's it. We should wrap it up. We are good in time. Thank you again, everyone who joined us in this live stream. We're going to come back on another video session for more updates and updates on products and such forth. So thank you. From Alex and I, till next time.